my name is Connor Lenahan. I'm a senior at Boston University, and I'm the public address announcer for BU Athletics. So the name of the condition is osteogenesis imperfecta. The layman's terms is just brittle bone disease. I've broken each of my shins twice, my left femur once, my right femur 3 times, my right wrist once, my right elbow once, and I cracked my L5 vertebrae. So I need the wheelchair half the time. I really use it more for safety and mobility because it's easier and quicker for me to get around campus and I'm less likely to fall and trip and break something. It's funny because I have loved sports since I was a little kid, but I've never been able to play them competitively at any level beyond my backyard. So I wanted to figure out some way to get involved. I knew the guy at my high school who was doing it for our basketball team. And when he graduated, I jokingly told him, "I want your job." And then he said, okay, and started training me for it, started doing it, and then quickly found that people were liking it. So I just kept doing it, and I decided when I got to college, I wanted to try to announce one game before I graduated.
I met Connor 3 years ago. It was his freshman year at BU. He knew a couple of guys on the men's basketball team, and he had come to a couple of practices. One thing led to another, and he ended up being our fill-in PA for I think some of the fall sports.
So my first women's basketball game wasn't even supposed to be a women's basketball game. So BU was playing women's soccer in the NCAA tournament. So I was supposed to announce that one, and I showed up like 2 hours before that game at the basketball one to ask him what I was supposed to do. And when I got there, I explained to him, I've never announced soccer before. I have no idea what I'm doing. So Dan was originally going to announce basketball, which is technically more complex, but I'm more familiar with. So he asked me if I wanted to switch. So there's maybe 40 minutes before the women's basketball game. So I picked it up on the fly and he was like, "Can you do this?" And it was the first time he'd ever heard me announce, and I saw his eyes light up. And he was like, "Yep, you're fine. I'm gonna go do soccer." Just left me to it. I learned the entire game like trial by fire.
You know, I was a pretty harsh critic of his. I knew he was good, and I knew he was going to be really good. And he'd done a lot of high school PA, but when he got to the college level, I told him you got to be sharp. You got to work on your craft. Connor is a perfectionist. He expects a lot out of himself. So when I would critique him, I could see him kind of internalize it and really take note of it, and he'd improve right away. I mean, he's come a long way. I think he could have a career in it if he wants to. I don't know if he'll pursue it, but he's just one of those kids, no matter what he's going to do, you know he's going to do a good job because he's just going to work really hard at it.
This is my favorite thing is, if I was a basketball player, there's like a slim chance I get on my high school basketball team, there's a slimmer chance I play in college, and a 0% chance to play in the NBA. There is a non-0% chance I might announce in the NBA, and I am a college announcer. So I mean, it helped me in as much as it gave me a unique career path. So I mean, like, yeah, it kind of held me back from some stuff, but I don't like to think about it because in reality, if I rolled the dice again, I'd be hoping for the same role because I've liked how things have worked out as a result.
It's funny, he very clearly doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. And he does, he has that it factor. I don't know what it is, I can't put a finger on it, but people just want to be around him, people just want to talk to him, people want to hang out with him. You know, I think a lot of people admire him too because, you know, he's in a wheelchair obviously, but he's never once to me spoken about that at all. As a matter of fact, when we were exchanging emails, you know, he never mentioned it, he never talked about that portion of his story. But I think that says a lot about him, who he is. He never lets anything kind of bring him down or get in his way, and I think that kind of upbeat, infectious, you know, side of his personality is really what shines through.
I never, ever, ever want anybody to feel bad for me with the condition because I've gotten out really lucky with it. And I've had a lot of fun opportunities because of the chair, but I really like to work hard, so that way it's like I never ever want to get anything just because I've got the chair. I want the chair to be a fun tidbit of my story, not the only part of the story.